Pontiac Safari Rescue. This is Dan here. Gonna do a 58 Pontiac Safari wheel well delete. Gonna remove this wheel well. It's in pretty bad shape and a lot of rust in it. And frankly, we're going to be using a larger tire, 15-inch tire and rim instead of a 14. So we decided to just pull this out, and we're going to actually make room, or hope to have room to do a hoist activated spare tire under the back end, under the bed, and hopefully it'll fit there between the rear rail under the tailgate there and the gas tank. We'll have to see once we get it done. That's the hope, and I'm pretty sure we've got plenty of room to do that. Basically, this is just going to remove the spare from inside the car, and we're going to put it to the outside. But as you can see, I had to drill out all of the tack welds, and it took quite a bit of work, and I was actually kind of frustrated because the well fit so tight in there that when I got the back rivets where I'm looking at underneath there, where I'm drilling at, it doesn't allow the spare tire well to go back towards the front of the car far enough to allow me to lift the wheel well out from the back by the tailgate. So basically what I had to do is keep working to get rid of all of the tack welds in these corners. It took quite a bit of work. They went way overboard with the tack welds, but as you can see, I'm lifting up on the wheel well quite a bit. It does come up and it is moving, so we've got it loose, but sadly I'm going to have to get the grinder out and do some cutting and bend those lips up once I get all the tack welds cleaned out. So this took a few minutes, as you can see. Patience is a virtue, as I always say. It's a lot of work, but you know what? It turned out really nice. So I'm going to get the grinder here. I'm sitting here thinking about it, trying to figure out what I'm going to do. Just get the grinder, make a few cuts, a pair of pliers, bend up the sheet metal to drop it straight down out of the hole, and that's exactly what happened. Again, this took some time, but my goal was to not damage any of the rest of the skin in the car so that I didn't have to do a lot of rework there, and we got it out. Turned out pretty nice. Next, we cleared out all of the tack welds around the perimeter, across the top, and did some cleaning. Got rid of all the rust. There wasn't a lot there, which was kind of nice. Again, this car only had 26,000 and some odd miles on it when it was parked, and we believe 1962-ish after it was T-boned. So it didn't see a lot of road travel, a lot of sitting in the sun and sitting in the weather, but the underneath was actually in relatively good condition compared to most of the same year cars. So spent some time on this, got it all cleaned up. I did have to patch a couple of holes because I had to drill all the way through. There's actually three layers here to get the tack welds cleared out so I could drop that well out, and so I'm patching those up in this location, these corners, doing a little bit of tack welding, taking my time with that so I don't overheat the sheet metal, and grind them back down and then clean them up. So turned out pretty nice. Got the Dremel out, cleaned up any of the bad spots there and that I couldn't get to with the grinder without cutting too much, and got it ready for the new sheet metal to go in. Now we're moving underneath. There's that support rail that the back side or the front side of the wheel well is mounted to. I wanted to clean up around the areas where I was going to be welding the new sheet metal to cover this hole up with, to get anything from that might burn from welding. So we did a bunch of removal of some of the original undercoat in these areas. As you can see, I'm chiseling away at some of it, but we got it all cleaned out. Here I'm fixing up the fender well on one side that was looked like it was smashed into something, straightening that out. Again, chiseling some of that undercoat off, and it's a lot of work. For those of you that have a rotisserie, this is a really good opportunity to use one. Unfortunately, I don't have the resources or the space for that, and I really don't have the time, so I just decided to raise this car about 30 inches up off the ground, sit underneath it, and do all the work from underneath. It was a dirty job, but you know what? The outcome is well worth the effort. What I'm using here is a wood chisel of all things. It's an old one that I don't use anymore. I sharpened it just with a grinding wheel, just to make it somewhat sharp. It doesn't have to be super sharp. You don't want to cut into the sheet metal or cause any deep gouges, but it worked really well for chipping off this old undercoat. In some areas it was pretty thin and I could do it with just a hand. Other areas where it was thicker I had to use a dead blow hammer. I wouldn't suggest a regular hammer. You'll get too many gouges in the metal. Scrapes are okay, but I tried to avoid making any major gouges into the sheet metal. Lots of work. So I did this all the way up to about where the drop down in the cab. As you can see, that just over my head that I'm scraping on now. That is about where I stopped in this video, but this process continued all the way to the front of the car, the front of the cab. So scraping all of the old material off, undercoating, any rust, got it all nice and smooth down to metal, and then I put a rust treatment on the bottom of the body in all areas, and then an actual rubberized undercoat, not the undercoat that's kind of an oil-based material I used. Basically, it's the same, very similar to a truck bed liner that you would put in a truck bed, so it'll hold up for a lot longer than most cars. As you can see, I'm spending a lot of time digging through this, getting quite dirty. It is a messy job and it's extremely time consuming, but you know what, I got it done, so super happy with it. When it's done, you'll see here what it looks like. In order to put this new piece of sheet metal to close that hole off, I actually had to run a support where I'm working at right here on this small rail. It ends, you can see the little hole there, drain hole in the rail where it stops at the edge of that sheet metal in the opening. I extended that all the way across to the other side with a 1x1 1/8" wall steel tube, and then tack welded the flat sheet metal, or the new sheet metal, to that, and welded up the ends of that tube as well, so it's all sealed underneath. Later on, I didn't actually capture that in the video, but you'll see it finished when I get to the end of the video here. Again, there's a lot of scraping. This is actually something to keep in mind too. The video is reversed from what it should be. I'm actually working on the driver's side. As you can see, the little rubber tube sticking out of that white enclosure there on the left of where my hands are. That's the actual gas inlet area So my gas tank will feed into that and up to the tail light or the backup lights. So just wanted to let you know that I'm filming from the wrong side of the phone here, so everything's going to look backwards. Again, this is the driver's side here. Yeah, some areas of this undercoat was a lot tougher than others. Sometimes I get big chunks off, sometimes small ones. And we got it all cleaned up and ready to tack weld our sheet metal in and our tube. Again, I didn't get any video of that, unfortunately. As you can see here, a lot of the undercoat is all scraped off. It's all clean underneath, and here is with just the undercoat or the rust treatment throughout the entire rear end of the car. Again, I did this all the way from front to back, but ultimately then I got the rubberized coating on top of that, and as you can see, it's got a little bit of a texture to it. Turned out really nice and clean. Everything's sealed and looks really good. So again, super happy with the results. Hope everybody enjoyed the video. This one's a bit longer than most, but covers a lot of work, and anybody that's gonna take on this challenge, just be ready for a lot of time and a lot of dirt. Here's the final result. You guys all have a great one. Like and subscribe. We'll talk to you soon.